Good, probably evening by the point you're seeing this, everyone. I've had to re-record this a time or two, just stuff keeps coming out. But today, I'm pouring into some personal investigation. Here, we have started to notice, some of you may remember from a Kraken episode, some strange radar anomalies. I'll play a couple that I will specifically reference in this video. Here we have one from Havana. Make your connections as you will to Havana syndrome specifically, but you've got some starbursts, some spirals, some strange patterns here. Next, specifically, you'll see in Saudi Arabia a radar excitement that covers maybe the entire radar field. And as we zoom in here and let it load, you'll see how really dense this is, and further zoom in and zoom in. Well, right in the middle of it seems to be an airport, and we'll get to that airport. Next, we have a disturbance, an anomaly from the Pacific in Thailand, specifically very close to Singapore. And a lot of you may know why I had to re-record this today and bring up Singapore. Right. So before we can get into these specifics, we've got to start at the beginning. Here is the patent for HAARP technology, filed in 1985, a method and apparatus for altering at least one selected region which normally exists above the Earth's surface. The region is excited by electron-cyclotron resonance heating to thereby increase its charged particle density. After one embodiment, circulatory polarized electromagnetic radiation is transmitted upward in a direction substantially parallel to and along the field line, which extends through the region of plasma to be altered. The radiation is transmitted at a frequency which excites electron-cyclotron resonance to heat and accelerate the charged particles. This increase in energy can cause ionization of neutral particles, which are then absorbed as part of the region, thereby increasing the charged particle density of the region. Filed by Eastland Bernard in 1985, like I said. The claims here: we will transmit first electromagnetic radiation at a frequency between 20 and 7200 kilohertz from the Earth's surface. Okay. Excite that. Method of claim 1. At least one region are excited by electron-cyclotron resonance. Artificial particles are provided by injecting the same into said at least one region from an orbiting satellite. These claims are pretty substantial, getting into the plasma regions, getting into absorption, second radiation. Here, method of claim 14, wherein said site of natural gas within the magnetic latitudes that encompass Alaska. Further down, background art, you'll notice that specifically mentioned is places such as Platteville, such as we know in Alaska. There is some specific mentionings of specific places, right? Platteville High Power Facility, Oak Ridge National Laboratory. I'll scroll for a minute here, give you guys some reading material to pause at any time, because this ionosphere thing, this charged particle thing, this going back to what churches were naturally doing with their steeples, all of this stuff, this is very interesting. This is big stuff. This is not impossible historically at all. Okay, now here from geoengineeringwatch.com we have a list of known and potential and confirmed HAARP sites. We'll click on a couple here using from this site specifically. Here we have HAARP's own actually publicly disclosed research facility. Some things I want noticed. Off to the left here, this grid of radar towers and structures, but also here to the southern part of it, to the auxiliary building here, you'll notice kind of a reverse clearing. You know, something in the middle here. Google, as it's working with these people, make sure to leave this just a little bit too fuzzy to tell. But you'll notice that circle pattern along with this auxiliary building, and then something certainly in the middle. Now, Platteville Atmospheric Observatory in Colorado, you'll notice it has that circular layout, something in the middle, and stuff around it. It has that grid-like radar tower setup. It, as mentioned in the patent, we can pretty much confirm that this is a HAARP site as well. Now, another one mentioned on geomagneticwatch.com, Pleasant Valley, Alaska. You'll notice here it's a building. It's got that circular setup in a clearing this time. It has that square cutting out for a grid. I will also note it seems very convenient that it is only 40 miles, 50 minutes by normal drive from Ellison Air Force Base. Now, of course, that's if you take those main roads I mentioned. You'll see here these very convenient back roads going all the way up to Pleasant Valley here. You'll even notice in the middle of these military access roads another circular setup of something pattern. It seems solid to stipulate that this pattern of structures could very well indicate HAARP buildings, electromagnetic cyclotron resonance disturbance structures. Okay, now this isn't the first time these radar patterns have happened. In 2016, an unexplained spiral vortex appears on the Mexican weather radar. We'll see here images of it. Isn't the first time mysterious spiral has appeared on the Mexican radar. Seen October 8, 2012. Another one in 2014. Here, and we'll go to its own reporting next. Australian weather radar reported strange disturbances. Here in 2009, a famous spiral anomaly was seen and photographed over many parts of Norway and Sweden. Spiral was blue and gray, lasted 3 minutes, and was similar to a previous but not as bright spiral the month before. Now, what are these things? Malfunctions, secret government tests, HAARP, UFO interference, something else? Right, we don't know. In Australia, you'll see here over the western side of the country, very strange weather taking place over the southwest of Australia. He told me to go to the National Weather Service. Images I could not open, the images he attached by the time it left. Okay, we'll notice here that immediately after, some storm pattern rushed off to the east. What was that? Noting position of the ring from the state border. It seems like, and we'll read some correspondence here before I get into stipulation. Regards the possible activation of a transmitter close to the official ground radar location. How powerful and what frequency would that need to be to interfere with your own equipment? Is it conceivable that the same effect could be the result of transmissions beamed from above instead of from the ground? I believe that the US, Australia, UK, Canadian HAARP experimental installations are thought to be responsible for some new previously unseen aerial phenomenon. Now, even just this past week, we know of Hurricane Henry. Here I will use satellite imagery to show you some strange energy explosion of some sort coming from Hurricane Henry as it's over the ocean in the Atlantic. Right, guys, what is happening here? Now, you're asking yourself, where's the connection? What's being, guessed at here? Right, okay. Here we have from an insider, someone that is X.mil, ex-State Department, ex-DOD. I have these confirmed. I'll read the text here. I just got this from Military Insider. Between September 11th and November 11th, California, Washington, Oregon will be shut down on all borders. Next is Utah and Arizona, then Texas. Then we'll move east. They're shutting off the water. They are sending in military to enact checkpoints. Watch the news. When they start mentioning the water shutoffs, then the travel stops. They're expecting full civilian war. All slaughterhouses with meat will be shut down by November 6th due to COVID. People are going to be really sick. No more meat is coming. Take this however you want. Okay. Well, in that breath, how I take this, the weather, the HAARP, the severe conditions that we are seeing will turn here to You know, let's think of right now, we have Hurricane Grace, Henry, and Fred all slapping the U.S. at the same time. These will be the justification for the infrastructure failings, right? Okay. I'll get into what I think happens after that shortly at the end of the video. Here we look at 2020 weather patterns, hurricane season. We'll remember how crazy it was. I will notice from the key here, we have yellow, tropical storm, green, tropical depression. The hurricanes are only that red and purple. Okay. Going back into the Gulf of Mexico, think of that Havana spiral. Something happening there. Think of Havana syndrome specifically even. Notice that these things don't just slowly, gradually become these massive hurricanes. They jump there. As soon as they start to get into this Gulf of Mexico area, right? Now that is technically how the geological makeup of the Gulf of Mexico, that cape, does make hurricanes behave, but the frequency, the number of times just a tropical storm will turn into a hurricane listed here, the numbers are shocking. They're staggering. I again refer to, just think of this year's own severe weather. It has been, a lot. Currently right now, you've got storms bring flooding, high winds, threat to the central United States, 22 people killed, 17 missing in Tennessee from flooding, 17 inches. The weather is picking up. The National Guard will get called in to help with COVID, to help with these severe weather disasters. They're being put in place. Oregon to send National Guard to troops to help hospitals. Tennessee activates National Guard to help COVID hospitalizations. Not there's severe weather and 17 dead and people missing, but COVID hospitalization surges. Hurricane Henry, Charlie Baker, governor, activates National Guard ahead of Hurricane Henry. The setup, the justification, the distraction. Everyone's concerned at the failings of the current White House and Afghanistan right now, that they maybe aren't even noticing the home front. Right. It's just another storm. We're worried about things everywhere else right now. I mentioned the current White House administration. Today, news broke that Havana syndrome is a possibility on why Kamala Harris was stranded in Singapore. It's anomalous health incident in Hanoi, often used to describe Havana syndrome. It's an unexplained medical condition affecting lots of U.S. diplomats. We saw that radar anomaly near to in Thailand, near to Vietnam, where she's at right now. Is there some background distraction? Is there a reason that she's not leaving to stay out of the country? Is there a reason she's over there next to China right now? Is China someone that's making these events happen? We know how involved they're getting in the Middle East. Right. Okay. Speaking of, we turn to that Middle Eastern airport. The Dwadmi airport, flight infrastructure, many residents. They only get 2 flights a week out of this airport. 2 flights a week. Citizen Otman bin Abdullah Al Dawan says that it is not hidden that many of the government's goal in constructing airports is to serve the people of the country, to facilitate their movement without regard to achieving economic gains. So provided fuel for aircraft at reduced prices to perform this role. But still, only 2 flights a week out of this airport. Why? Where is this fuel going? We look at this airport here. I mean, it is next to a whole lot of nothing. Right. I mean, plenty of runway space, but if we go look here at the southern tip of the airport, again, we start to see that same setup. A building, a circular, patterned clearing out over to the left a squared, rectangled off area, we could likely stipulate that this is some kind of the exact same weather monitoring place, at least. If you look at the radar craziness that's happening originating from this airport, likely to stipulate that these are another HAARP-esque base. We saw the things in Australia. We saw the things in Mexico. We know in Dubai, they're actively making it rain so that they can get better weather or get less hot weather. We know that these things are happening on a public front, but what parts aren't they telling us, right? My stipulation, my speculation, my guessing here, the severe weather justifies the infrastructure failings. They know that they're falling behind. The spiritual, the frequential, the resonance of Americans is getting too much for them to just quell. We are not taking their shit anymore. Okay? So they're shooting from the hip. They are doing anything they can. They are distracting over here while justifying actions over here. They are trying to make us forget that we need to call for change before it is too late anymore, before they have all encompassed and confiscated all of our civil rights. I've said it many times here before. A real call to action, I believe, is coming. Something that we're going to have to do. We have to stop having struggle offs. This has happened to me. How bad is it? Oh, this has happened to you. What's happened to me is worse. Oh, you've had it worse here, but I've had it worse here. We've got to have... We're peers, and we're compatriots, and we're fellow man. We need to stop having struggle offs against each other and turn to the people that are causing these struggles. These physical, these psychological, these problems that we all face in different means and measures. Turn to them and say enough, and call them on their bullshit before they tape our mouths shut. You know? I did a lot of speculation, a lot of investigation here. I think that these dots connect. I think that they're real. I think that this is a possible scenario going forward. And I hope you guys let me know what you think in the comments. But I think we need to be ready. I think the higher beings are trying to make sure that we are, and they're getting quelled. We're getting quelled. I think that, lack of a better word, I think the time is coming. There's no more waiting. There's no more trusting the plan. There is no plan. We have to plan. We have to take action. I hope you have a great day, a great rest of your week. A news episode will be coming out after this. I wanted this one to get out first. Cheers.